We're back to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello, I'm Dr. Sam Hancock, Executive Director and President of EmeraldPlanet in Washington, D.C. We're working with 143 nations around the globe looking for the best practices for environmental, economic, and social development. We look upon ourselves as being the link of these technologies, processes, and services to those in the greatest need in these many different countries. We have a guest that's with us that's going to be talking about Rotary International. This is May Gwinn, who is a member of the Rotary Club of Washington, D.C. and Rotary International. And she's a very active member of the World Community Service Committee, looking at projects all over the globe, in Asia, Latin America, Africa, and many other parts across the Pacific. And so we welcome May Gwinn.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit about Rotary International, its scope, number of clubs, and the number of members, and then let's talk about some of the projects, and then we're going to, of course, be talking about water, which is indeed the essence of life. So, May Gwinn, Rotary International.
Well, the first Rotary Club was founded in Chicago, Illinois in 1903 by a fellow named Paul Harris, and it was the world's first service club. Its mission initially was professional fellowship, but quickly expanded to help serve communities in need. So Rotary members found that they could pool their resources and contribute their talents to help those less fortunate.
So today, it's a service organization that's reaching out to the community then.
Exactly. Today we have 1.2 million members.
That's incredible.
Yeah. 33,000 clubs in 200 countries worldwide.
Well, which is just virtually all the countries on the globe.
That's a lot of volunteers.
That's a lot of volunteers. And I think many people think of it as more of a social organization for business and government types and local communities, but really encompasses education, health care, nonprofits. It's really representative of the total community. Would you agree with that, May Gwinn?
I would. The first question they ask is, what would it take to change the world? And Rotary has an answer, of course.
And what would that answer be? Let's put you on the spot and see if you pass the exam.
They have 1.2 members, so that's a lot of volunteers, as I said. So they can man local, national, regional humanitarian projects to combat hunger, to improve health and sanitation through their clean water initiatives. They can provide education and job training, and they can alleviate suffering in international conflicts and problems relating to severe climate change.
Well, we're talking about very broad products and projects going on around the globe. Many activities are involved, but one of the largest overarching projects, of course, has been Polio Plus. For our audience, which is worldwide, what is Polio Plus and how has Rotary been involved and actually taken a leadership role in that?
Polio Plus is one of the most ambitious programs in Rotary's history. In 1998, Rotary inspired a global partnership under the World Health Assembly to pass a resolution dedicated to eradicating polio. This was a 20-year program. It's still going on, and it provides immunization programs in developing countries. And the need was great. In 1985, there were 350,000 polio cases in 125 countries.
Now, is this on a yearly basis? There's that many?
That's how many there were in 1985. Polio affected 1,000 children every day. Every month, excuse me. But today, in 2008, well, actually, according to 2008 statistics, there are no more than 2,000 cases a year. So that's a huge improvement. Through the efforts of Rotary and its international partners like the World Health Organization, the number of polio cases has been reduced by 99%. That's a huge reduction.
Now, I understand that actually it's isolated now in only about 5 provinces or regions in the world, where before it was spread across almost all the 150 developing countries around the globe. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. But the polio cases represented in that 1% will be the most challenging and difficult to prevent. The reason is because they are geographically isolated. There's a lot of worker fatigue, there's armed conflict, and a lot of cultural barriers. So we're still working to eliminate that 1%, but you know, even though we say that polio is on the verge of extinction, the threat is still out there. So, you know, if we don't eradicate polio, there could be 10 million more children with polio in the next 40 years.
You know, the Polio Plus has been a huge program. Rotary itself has raised right at $1 billion US for
Yep.
this, and of course they're saying the match from the WHO, the World Health Organization, local governments, and all that is at least another $5 billion. But now they're
Exactly.
looking at an even more ambitious project that has totally been decided yet, but this whole thing of clean water
Oh,
and
yeah.
sanitation. So where do you see that, May Gwinn, that's going to be taking us in the future?
That is our next big project. Rotary recognizes that the world is facing a huge water crisis.
Which is even larger than the ravages of polio.
Definitely, and more devastating. Kofi Annan, the former UN Secretary General, said that access to safe water is a fundamental human need, and therefore a basic human right. Only 1% of the world's water is clean and fit to drink. So every year there are 1.8 million people, 90% of them children under 5, who die from diseases like diarrhea, as Lindsay Madison suggested, associated with unclean, unsafe water and inadequate sanitation facilities.
Yeah, I understand that, as you were saying, is about, was it 1.1, 1.2 that does not have clean water, then it's almost, what, 2.8 million that doesn't have adequate sanitation and wastewater treatment. Is that correct?
Exactly. Over a billion people lack access to safe drinking water. 2.6 billion lack sanitary facilities.
See, those are
Yeah.
such huge numbers. It's hard, I think, for our viewing audience to wrap their mind around this. Is how can
yeah.
2.6 billion people, we're saying million, but billion people, not have access to proper sanitation, which goes, as we've talked about in other programs, you're contaminating whatever clean water that you may have, even though it's coming out of wells.
So, the UN Millennium Development Goal for 2015 is to cut in half the proportion of people without access to clean water and safe sanitation. This means reaching 275,000 people with clean water every day.
Those are tremendous
It's
numbers.
unimaginable, but it's possible. You can do it.
We have a few slides we would like to share based on some projects that are going on in the Latin America and also in Africa. If we could bring those slides up, and maybe we could just have a few comments about those, May Gwinn. Looking at this, tell us those numbers again as we're looking at this beautiful photograph in front of us. What is the numbers lacking water and also facing improper sanitation?
This is a child in the Azawak region of Niger. 1 of 2 children die before the age of 5 in this region. One borehole in Niger, in the Azawak region, can change the lives of 25,000 people.
Let's look at the next photograph as we move forward. May, what are we looking at here?
Oh, this is the first water well that was put in by Aman Iman, Water is Life, an NGO that was started by a really wonderful social entrepreneur called Ariane Kirtley, a graduate of the Yale School of Public Health. Almost single-handedly, she mobilized.
And
Hopefully.
And we understand these boreholes or these wells go down somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 feet, and that's
There is
tremendous
water
depth.
under the ground, but you have to really dig deep to get it.
Let's look at this next.
And it's expensive.
It's
Yeah.
very expensive. Let's look at this next slide. And this will give our viewing public around the globe, many of which are facing this on a day-to-day basis, But this is the water distribution system that we're looking at right here.
Doggies and water cans, right? This is our borehole. I mean, not ours, but the Water is Life borehole in Niger. And before this well was put in, women had to walk almost 30 miles to get water.
Yeah,
sometimes.
the world average, we understand, in developing countries is almost 4 miles
Yeah.
a day, 2 miles one way to get 1 bucket of water, which in most cases is actually dirty water.
Yeah, it's
That's
usually
what's even
quite
more
dirty.
amazing.
Yeah.
Let's look at this last slide, and then we're going to need to close out for
Okay.
this section. We're looking at here, what are we looking at, May, this water filtration in the back corner?
This is a biosand filter in the Dominican Republic where this family was plagued with intestinal illnesses, and now they can just drink clean water and have a, you know.
Well, we have about 30 seconds left. We're
Okay.
looking at the world. What would you like to leave with our viewing public? 30 seconds.
If you want to make a difference in the world, I think you could join the Rotary Club, contribute to the Rotary Foundation or Water is Life, and
be involved.
And be involved and eliminate childhood diseases, 90% of which are
Through
from
good water.
Yeah, clean water.
Thank you
That's the
very
answer.
much
Sorry.
being with us.
Yeah.
Dr. Sam Hancock, Washington, D.C., EmeraldPlanet. We're talking about water, the essence of life, and we look forward to being back with you again soon.